Hey VC, this is Gary from the Vinyl Dungeon. I watched a intro video, I think it was yesterday, from Jesse Jean, and decided that maybe I should do one. And I keep on making videos because I want to get more comfortable in front of the camera here. But I just thought I'd give you a little bit of my background. I started listening to vinyl probably in the late 50s at a very young age because I was born in 52. But my brother and sister, I have older brother and sister, and they both love music, and they had one of these old suitcase looking turntable things with the speakers that folded out. I know you people have seen them, but mostly 45s. You know, they all had 45s, but I used to listen to them. Elvis, Buddy Holly, a lot of good people, but my brother really liked Bob Dylan, and I got into Bob Dylan at a very young age. Matter of fact, the very first album I ever bought with money from had a paper route was Bob Dylan's John Wesley Harding, and I love that album. Played it all the time. And back then, there was radio or vinyl, and I think 45s were probably more popular than the albums because kids were buying 45s because they didn't have the money to purchase an album. And I don't remember the price, but they were fairly cheap. But yeah, that's basically how I got into vinyl. Got married right out of high school. I was 17. Had 2 kids by the time I was 19. Got drafted when I was 19. I went down to Fort Hollerberg, went through the process where they were giving me all the shots and everything, because my number was 31. And that's back when they had the draft. They drew the lottery numbers. And I never won the lottery in my life, but I certainly hit that one at a low number. I was 31, but they drafted automatically 1 through 50. And then while I was down there and getting my shots, I talked to this lady, and she overheard me talking to one of the guys standing in line with me as we were getting shots. That she said, "Well, did you say you were married with 2 kids?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Actually, I only had the 1 kid then. I don't even think my second child was born yet because he wasn't born till December, and I was drafted in November." But I said, "Yeah." She says, "Well, didn't you get your draft status changed?" And I said, "No." So, long story short, filled out the forms right there to change my my eligibility, which was 4F because you're married with children, which I was glad because Vietnam War was going on then. So anyway, I got married, was electrician for 10 years. Last 5 years of it, I was a supervisor. Loved the job, had great people to work with. Then I ran into a friend of mine. He was actually working out behind my house, and he was working for the phone company. And went out talking to him. He said, "Gary, you got to get in and put an application in at the phone company." He says, "They got great benefits, good pay, and it's a great place to work." So I took a day off from work and went down and filled the application out. I did one for there and the railroad. To be an electrician on the trains, driving on the trains. And crazy thing, they both called me in the same week. And I picked C&P Telephone Company, which was down in Baltimore. And worked there through, I guess, 25 years. I worked there. And then they decided they were cutting people back, and they decided they were going to do buyouts. And they offered me a package. I only had 25 years with them, and I was only 54 at the time. And worked hard all my life from the time I was like 13 when I got a paper route. Never was without a job. Had worked all through high school, and that's all I knew was to work. Get up and go to work. And when I first retired, I was lost. You know, you felt like you were stealing money or something by sitting home. But after about 6 months, I fell right into the routine. Haven't looked back since. Love being retired. If anybody out there that's retired that's watching this video, you know what I mean. It's nice being able to do what you want. Every day is Saturday, you know. But I enjoy retirement. Health hadn't been all that good. I've had a lot of issues. Had a hard. I went on vacation down in Lewis, Delaware, when I was retired, and at the beach. And my son went with me because he was going through a divorce, my youngest, and he had me drinking vodka and cranberry juice, and I never drank liquor. I always drank beer. Love my beer, and I got indigestion, and I blamed it on the vodka. I said, man, that damn vodka gave me some indigestion. It's terrible. And anyway, I don't want to go rambling on, but went to the hospital, and I was having a heart attack. And you know, it's kind of funny situation because I'm glad. It was kind of a good thing and a bad thing because when I went in, I found out that I was a diabetic. The nurse come in and said, Mr. Holmes, you didn't tell us you were diabetic. And I said, I'm no diabetic. So they said, well, your sugar's like really off the charts. So they told me to go see a doctor when I got back home. And I did, and I went right on insulin. You know, I went from thinking I was fine to having a heart attack and going on insulin, giving myself shots. So from what they tell me, I was probably diabetic for a while, which, you know, you find out these things. And when I was 48, I had 6-way bypass. 3 years later, I had 7 stents put in. And I guess it was 5 years or 6 years later, I had the heart attack. But people in my family don't really live real long. My brother was 47 when he passed away from diabetes. And my sister was 57. She had cancer. My grandfather was 57. He had a heart attack and died. My grandmother was 61, and she had 10 children, and most of them all had heart attacks at one point in their life, and a couple of them died in their 30s. So, you know, it runs in the family, but so is, you know, life. You just pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and move on. And I try to eat as healthy as I can. No issues in the last, I guess, I've been retired 13 years. So the last 10 years, I've been pretty good. But except for arthritis in my hands. Still ride my Harley, still have a good time. So I don't drink much because of being a diabetic, but every once in a while I'll have a couple beers. And that's it. I don't know how much I'll be able to contribute to the vinyl community because, to be honest with you, everybody I watch on the VC is so knowledgeable. I got wrapped up in life, and I love music, but most of my music exposure was through the radio. And of course, you know, that's top 40 hits, you know. So a lot of these bands that people show, I'm totally unfamiliar with. But it's kind of good that I, you know, started watching the videos because I'm missing out on a lot of good music. I don't know how many albums I went out and bought because of people in the vinyl community, and you know, I figured that they must have good taste. They got 8,000 albums. I know Tales from the Crate, I just watched his video today. He has 8,000. And he said he just put them in Discogs. I know that took him a while because I have 900 CDs and like right around 1,600 albums. And I did mine, I guess, a couple years ago. And it took forever. I was like, you know. But the problem was I was going out and buying albums that I already had. So I figured I had to have some way to keep track of everything. And Discogs, if you don't know about it, is a great way to keep track of things. And you can buy, I've bought quite a few albums off of Discogs. But like I said, there are so many good channels out there. People are just so knowledgeable of all these bands that I've never heard of. The Omaha Introvert, Hannah, she introduced me to Depeche Mode. That's one of her favorite bands. And I never heard of that. Never heard of Depeche Mode. And they have a lot of albums out. But that's what's nice about the vinyl community. You pass on information, and it helps. When you're out buying albums, you don't want to waste your money. So that's about all I got to say for right now. And hope everybody's staying warm, and I guess getting ready to watch the Super Bowl. But have a good day, and take care.